Well, thank you, Sarah, for inspiring and facilitating a most wonderful conversation this week. I think it's safe to say that everybody um, has learned a lot, both from Sarah's literature review and from from one another in the conversation. This is such an important area for everyone to be aware of. Thank you for the posting of warning signs also. And I love the concept of junk food intimacy. Wait till you get to the week where we talk about growing up online and the pros and cons of having so much social media in kids' lives. Um, you also pointed out how important understanding the cultural context is, and that involves, as you uh, discussed, not only the ethnic cultural context, but also the culture of different geographic areas. I was surprised to learn that teachers still have paddles in their desks. Um, in Arkansas, or still did, um, uh, when when kids were in school 10 or so years ago. That's amazing. So I think that it's very important to understand that context, and especially if you happen to be working for child welfare, um, it's not so easy as um, indicating a case because a child, for example, has marks. Because in some cultural contexts, for example, there are practices called coining and cupping, which do indeed leave marks, and it's for health purposes. For example, cupping has to do with lighting a candle, like a votive candle, and putting it on certain pressure points on a person's body, and then a sort of suction is created, and the light goes out, but the ring stays there. Very similar to acupuncture. And another similar um, practice, coining, is um, involves rubbing a coin in a circle on that pressure point area, and that's very helpful as well. There are rituals where adolescents don't eat for a period of time, and the list goes on. So do make sure that you understand the cultural context. That was a very important point. I love that idea of the long-term ripple effect of abuse and neglect. And as you pointed out, there is also a long-term ripple effect of positive, nurturing relationships. So once again, even if a child only has limited contact with somebody who is nurturing, then it's very common that that child remembers that and also incorporates that into his or her life story and um, psychic system. You made an excellent point that when uh, early experiences of abuse and neglect take place, when kids don't recommend, I mean, nobody would recommend it. When kids don't remember these experiences, then they do have these sort of subliminal effects. And so when you're working with someone, just because there is no obvious information related to abuse and neglect, sometimes you see the signs and symptoms, and you can treat or intervene with the person in some of the same ways that you would with a child who has uh, obviously, or for whom there is information about clear abuse and neglect. So that would be helpful to you, hopefully, as well. So thank you. This was such a warm, I can't find the word, a wonderful uh, forum discussion with many in-depth posts, and it's quite clear that you're critically analyzing the issues and examining your own thinking on the issues as you're writing, and that's perfect. I want to clarify the distinction between an annotated bibliography, which Sarah did such a beautiful job in, and a literature review. A literature review is a synthesis, uh, more like what you um, saw in uh, the beginning of the synthesis of this week's literature and forum discussion. So in a literature review, once you have reviewed all the relevant literature and um, and critically analyzed it in your own thinking, then you can present it in an organized thematic way and evaluate it. And in so doing, you give the reader a sense of the most up-to-date understandings related to that particular subject area. Um, so this is quite inspiring the way you're going along here, and I look forward to finishing this week.